So welcome back. Now we are succeeded in creating our registration page or registration form, and we are successful with it. Just like you can see that the form that we submit there, you can see the record of the user in database now successfully. That's his password, that's his full name, that is the encrypted password, and that's the phone number, and that's the email address. So let's try to visit our form and see that so let's try to go to our login page. Access the login page by saying localhost let's say our user system login.php. Okay, so that's the login form. Where we are going to work on this the login form. So I have to create the login form to be able to capture the user details and show him the welcome words page. So how do we do that? Let's proceed. Go to the login form. We have already set everything there. So the thing we need to do is to capture the details we want. The important details you want there is the parameters you need there is the email and password. So go to our login form. So processing the page that will be processing that is process.php. We create the file process.php. So first thing we need to do is we start session starts. Okay. We call the database connection. Okay, connection.php. That's our database connection. So the next thing we are going to do is to get our form variables so that if server requests method is equal to post. So you call your email be equal to post email and password be equal to post password. So we need to check whether the password stored in database and the one that I just echoed is the same. So I'll say that password. So I just say password verified. Okay, the first thing I'll do is to check whether email and password is this. So I say that a record check. Okay, I'll use the prepare statement against MySQL session. So select. What am I selecting? Email. Selecting password. From students via email and password so called check and param. So now executes. So the results. Yes. So the next thing I need to know is whether the column actually exists in our MySQL database. So I will say that if res, okay, is this num underscore rows, that's number of rows, is greater than 0, that it should perform an operation. Else, it should also perform an expression. So we say that if it's well, that means it exists, else error statement. Print error message. And say that our error message is session. Okay, session error equal to invalid login details. Let's try again. Okay. So the header location will be login.php. Okay. So let's work on the rules that exist. Since we said that the rule exists, okay, we need to now get some parameter in the rule and check whether the password we imputed is the same as the password. The password we imputed is the same as the password imputed is the same thing as the word password was entered. So we need to fetch ASOC and see that our rule is res fetch ASOC. Okay. We now say that pass, that's the password I got from database, is row, okay, password, okay. So I now call my email. So the email is equal to row email. So what's the next thing I will do? And I see that if I will check for password, that if pass is equal to no. Yes. Okay. I will now say that if the password are entered, if password verify, password are entered, and the what password are generated, okay, and the email I entered is equal to the email I generated it should do an operation. Else error, invalid password, invalid email or password. Okay, the location will still be login.php. So always remember, when you give your success message, always give the location where the success message will go to, or the error message will go to. So the location is still login.php. So if this happens, meaning that is okay. So the next thing I need to do is I will say, I will now give session. Let's say that session auth is true. Sorry. And let's see that session email. Okay. Let's say Part2 row email. Okay. Then session password Part2 row password. Okay. So you give it now a header location. And when it's successful, we should give you a header location. Should be what? Header location should be welcome. That's PHP. Okay. So remember, there is something I need to do. You go back to your code, the login code. You just go to your login code. After the session and your login form page, and I say that if you set session email and session password, it should give an error message. If you set session email and session password, so give a header location. That means you already logged in, meaning that if the session email and password is already logged in, it should take you to my welcome page. Okay? Else, it should do what? Take me back to home page. This is how you achieve that. That if it's set what? Session email and session password, you should give a location. Should give me a header location to be welcome. That's PHP. Okay. So that's what you are going to do. So if it's already logged in, when you tap this login page, it's always take you to session what? Password, session what? It will always take you to the welcome page, meaning that if you're already logged in on the browser, you don't need to see your login page again to just take you to the login page. So there is another thing you will do. You go back to the welcome page and you still write a code. So on the welcome page, you just say that PHP always start session. Remember, you say session start, since we are storing the variables in session. Session starts, so that if it's not is set, you now have to do what? Go back to your login, copy this code completely, and go to welcome page and say that If not, it's not set, the email session and password, you should always take me back to the what login page. Meaning that if you are already logged out and you try to what access this welcome page directly without logging in, it will throw you back to the what login page and tell you to do what login and take you to the what login page. So which error will it take you to the login page? Let's give it an error message. You can say that session error. The error message we get is what? Access restricted. Please log in first. Okay, but access is restricted. That you should please what? Log in first. Okay, so let's try and see how this goes and how it works. We go back to our word process.php, showing us that we have 2 errors over there. So we need to close the words. We need to close the statement will open up here. So let's try to log in using the user words details. So we go back to our what browser. Go back to our browser. This is our browser. This is the login system. Okay, this is our login page. So what do? We need to capture the what login details. So you can go to the my browser and copy the email. The password is already 1234. Okay, so I copy the email. I press the email. I type my password and see whether it works. Tells me that what? Hey, invalid what? Login details, please try again. So let's see what made it to tell us to please what? Try again. Okay, let's check why our code is not logging here. So let's look at our logic. So you can say that we remove here and turn it as text. Select all. Okay. So it will select all. Okay. So I'm selecting 2 things and it selects all. Okay. Let's go back to our code and try to run it. So repeating the user details, and for the password, that is submit. Still telling us invalid and login details. So let's look at our code closely and see what could be the problem. Okay. 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 So I have to make some adjustments on the code. And I'm going to select ID, email, password from users via email is supported. I bind param for email using my prepare statement. So the next thing I'm going to do is to go here and add something. So since password is correct, the next thing I'm going to do is to start a new session. Now I see that session login. Session port is equal to 2. Okay. So I add ID session. So session ID. Okay. So there is error. So I save. Okay. So there is another thing I need to do. So I'll go back to my welcome page and update this code here. So what I will do is to update this code. I press this code so that if we set session alt, since we are not using session alt, and session alt, if it says session, not session alt, or session alt not equal to true, that it should give a header location to login.php. Okay, so I will now go back and do the same on our login page. So I go to login.php and then time update this code. And here will now be if we set, okay, if we set session alt, or it is session alt is equal to true, that it should give us what welcome.php. So let's see. Let's try to run our code and see. Okay, we need to update some few errors here. So change this to this, and this to this, this to this, this to this. The same goes to our welcome page. Update this to this, this to this, this to this, this to this. So you see, and try to refresh our login page. Okay. So we are still getting the same thing. Line 6. So let's check our code. There's some correction here. Change this to end. Change this to end. And exactly about 2, 3. Okay. Let's try to refresh. So let's try to refresh. It's the error message that's clear. So that's just the thing. So we have updated the changes, okay? We have made so much changes and adjustments on the code. So the next thing I'm going to do here is we need to create our to update our welcome page. So let's update our welcome page first before creating our writing the code for logout, the logging out of the session, that's ending the session. So we go to welcome page. So we have already to some other things. So I can say that session and say that ID. Yes, I want to get the full name of the user on this welcome page. I can say that ID is equal to what? Session ID. Remember when we did this session, right? That's very good. So I say that I need to get the details of this particular ID. I now say that user details. We now do PD. So select all from students. Okay, year ID is equal to, or the ID variable, the ID as a session ID. As a particular session you are logged in, get the details of the user. So I'll now say that that the user row u as the can be variable attached that will be used to call the rows. So row you use user details first what associate array first and sock. Okay. So I now see that full name or name of the user is now equal to what? U. What full name. So for this particular user, the name of full name. So remember to include our database. So you can include your database. It comes immediately this can just include your database here. So include the name of the file is connection.what? PHP. So that's the thing. Okay. So we now need to call this name of this person to know the exact person that logged into the system. Okay. So we now need to make some changes. So this place of full name, we now replace it with what the variable. So let's say echo. This is another way of writing echo in PHP. We close the echo. So we can say that before then, we say you can just say maybe H1 user accounts panel. Okay, we close the H1. Maybe adjust this to H3. Okay, to get a bit different. So you now add another. You now add another what link known as the logout, right? So as to exit. So you say A using the anchor tag in the HTML CSS. Say logout.php. Okay, close. So you now add what log out. So whenever you click this file, this link, it will locate the logout file. So that the logout file process it and it will what? Log out to the system. So there is a kind of change things you will do in this particular system. You know, this logout file is especially for what? Destroying session, or when you log out to what? Collect or destroy what session. So it's now time to create the what? The logout file. So let's say I write the logout code. Okay? Go over to the what? Logout file and create a logout function. Consider what? First of all, start a session. We start a session. I see that session starts. Okay. Okay, session equal towards array as session equal to array. So I want to call destroy for the session. I want to say session words destroy. Okay. So exit. So what this command will do is whenever you click on it, it will what log out. So let's give a header location that whenever it logs out, where it will take us to. So if you log out, you take us to our login.php. So location, login.php. Okay, this we need to bring this inside after before this hits. So it will be here. After the session destroyed, it should do what? Give us a header location, then exit the what's code. So exit the session. So look at what we do. After doing this, then there's another thing we do. We need to go back to our welcome page and adjust some code on top. So we say something here that it should give us a header location. So we need to call the error message it should print. When you try to access the page direct, consider section error is equal to what? To tell you that unauthorized access, okay, please log in first, okay? So that's the error message, okay? So that's the thing. So what if okay, that's the error message we show. So let's try to attend to our system. So let's go back and try to refresh our page. So when we refresh, you can see already that we are on the welcome page, okay? So there is something we need to do. It's telling us an error. That means we automatically have logged into the system. So it's flagging up an error on line 20. So we go and check out what's showing on line 20. So we go back to our line 20, our welcome.php. So line 20 is telling us there is no such index. So we go back to our code and see whether that is true. So we have such index. So what happened? So there is something we need to adjust on the code. Here we call our session ID. We're supposed to call another session before the session ID. We need to call to session. So first of all, call session words, session outs. Okay. So you call session outs because it's the session. Then session out, which variable am I now showing? So before you call such variable, first of all, call session out. I now call the variable, okay? So let's try to refresh and see whether we get what we need. So we are still having error on line 14, okay? So let's try to refresh. Okay, so you just say what ID is equal to session what alt, meaning that if you come back to your process, okay, you see that this session alt is true, it's having what ID, it's also having email, it's also having what password. So anytime you want to do that, you just say that session alt. That means you call that select from all for student where ID is equal to what variable ID $ID meaning variable ID PHP, and variable ID is equal to what session alt. So we now try to fetch associative array which we fetch full name. So let's go back to our code and see how it looks like. So wow, so that's our dashboard now. Welcome Onyeka Lewis, and that's the full name of the of the student that we registered. Welcome what Onyeka So the next thing we are going to do is to try to log out. So you can see that we have logged out successfully, right? So go back to your code. We need to, so go back to the code. We have logged out successfully. So for example, now I'm not logged out. Let me try to access the welcome page and see the error message I get. For example, I'm not logged out. I'm logged out, but I want to access the welcome page directly. So I say that welcome.what.php. It will tell you, hey, unauthorized access, please log in for us. So as I try it again, it tells me the same thing, welcome.what.php. It tells me what? Unauthorized access, please log in for us. So I need to log in. And once I log in, I'll go back to my database to get the details of the user. So I use the email, password. So I say